Alright, so this will be another Fahey lesson on one of my favorite songs by him. I mean, all of his songs are one of my favorite songs, but this is off of, I don't remember the name of the album, but it's Knott's Farm, and just really beautiful, and it's a simple song, and we won't really be getting into, if you've heard the song before, the backwards guitar and stuff, because that's kind of hard to do without a tape recorder. But we'll be getting into all the other stuff that he does, and to get into the range that he plays this in, we'll have to tune down so that it's still standard tuning in that it's the same intervals of fourths, but it's down so that your first note is a D, and then, you know, your next note's a G, and so on. So maybe just tune to me. Here's my bottom string, A string, alright. Just a disclaimer, like, one thing that really always knocks me out about Fahey is how, like, cleanly and perfectly he plays his songs. I'm just gonna say right now that I won't be playing this cleanly and perfectly. That's just how it is. I do this Fahey stuff for leisure, so I try not to take it too seriously. But, you know, anyways, just forgive me if some of it kind of pops out or is weird. I'll kind of go through one thing that he does. We'll call this the first section. Yeah, it's really just a stunning and beautiful song. It just kills me. But to start off, he'll kind of do a weird bass line. I don't know like how he even picked this up or had the notion to do this, but it's with the 3rd fret of the bottom E string and then the D string open. So you've got an alternating bass line here. I should note that I've seen, there's one cover of this on YouTube, and the fellow does something like this. Rather than use his thumb kind of crossed, kind of peeking over the other side, he'll play traditionally like this and do this. And while that's possible, and some of you might kind of prefer that maybe, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, I found it to be extremely difficult to do. It's super awkward and probably bad for your hand. That's just a guess, I'm not a doctor. But, you know, one thing that I've learned about transcribing these musicians, these blues guitarists, and that's including Fahey, is that they always played it in the most simple way possible, and that's always been, people sometimes comment and inquire about how I transcribe these guys. One leading like clue for me is always thinking, you know, if this way of kind of theorizing how they're playing this or that lick is awkward or difficult, it's probably wrong of me to be kind of guessing that it's, they played it this way. And it kind of hit me for this too. I don't really think Fahey would have done this. It's just too awkward. And especially how cleanly he plays it. I mean, you'd need to practice this for a long time, and this alternative is so much easier. So I'm going to teach it like this. Sorry to digress on this subject for so long, but anyways, kind of peek over with your thumb, moral of the story, onto the 3rd fret, and then hit that D string, and alternate between these two. Now, on the treble side, he does this, kind of 4th fret of the B string, 3rd fret of the top E string. And Fahey used to call this, I don't know if you've seen his guitar workshop videos, but like, this is his train whistle lick. He called this like old train whistles. Anybody who knows Fahey knows how much he loves his trains, so. That's pretty much what he does. So just a bend on that B string, maybe up to a half step at the most, and then the top E string, again, and then again, and this time it's a bit different. He'll go bend up to the 5th fret of the E string, back to the 3rd fret, bend, and then open E string. And combining that with the bass line, and that's my favorite. This for me is what makes the song is so much. I don't know. I just find all this raw emotion in that part, and it just like I said, it just kills me. And then he'll come down to the 4 chord. Now you'll notice that like here, it's not so wrong, I guess, to hit the F like this. But you'll notice that if you peek over with your thumb, rather than playing a bar chord like this for the F, but alternatively if you play it like this, with your thumb hitting the root 1st fret of the bottom E string F, you'll notice that this shape that your hand is in so seamlessly transitions to a C. So you can go from the 1 to the 4 so easily. It's just so good for your hand that I just play it like that. If you want to play it as a bar chord, you'll notice how much more awkwardly it transitions. But of course that's up to you. I'm gonna do it like this though, so it's just F. So on the bass, it's just alternating bass line between the 1st fret of the bottom E string and the 3rd fret of the D string. Now the chord shape you'll want to keep with your fingers is 3rd fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the G string, 1st fret of the B string. So there's your F chord. Now on the treble side, it's just like so that's the 2nd fret of the G string, which is already held down by the chord. Then the 1st fret of the B string, which is also held down by the chord already. Then you can come up with your pinky and hit the 3rd fret of the B string, back to the 1st fret of the B string, second fret of the G string, and then open. And when you get into that open note, I know this is a lot in one spurt, but once you get into that open note, you'll be into a C chord, just to let you know for later. So, anyways, now the way the bass line and the melody lines up is pretty important. And rather than me just talk about it, I'll just play it slowly and then about a couple times maybe. Again, we're into a C chord now. Again. But that's the 4 chord. Now when you get into the C chord the first time, it goes like, first he hits a normal C chord, and then hits the first fret of the B string, and then the 3rd fret of the G string, so he gets into a C dominant. And the bass line will be on the 3rd fret of the A string, 2nd fret of the D string, which is a common way of playing a bass line for a C, open C. And what's also common is hitting a dominant right when you want to go from a root to the 4, because it leads so well back into the 4. Anyways, so then you'll be getting into the 4 chord again. And again you see me getting into it like this, but I need to get into this habit. You pretty much hit it the same way. And then C chord again. But the second time you get into the C chord, you won't be getting into any dominant stuff. He just hits it like that, which is kind of like Travis picking, I guess. Treble side. So 1st fret of the B string, open G string to that, and then to the 1st fret of the B string. And again. And then he'll do a pull off from the 1st fret of the B string to the open B string, and then to a G chord. Anyways. So on that G chord, he'll be kind of going like alternating bass line on the 3rd fret, the bottom E to the open D string. My guitar. Like that. It's hard to explain all this, these detailed pickings, so I'll do it the best I can. It's just open G string, and then hammering into the 2nd fret of that G string, open B string, and then 1st fret of the B string, back into a C chord. held the first section earlier. Really, there's not much difference between the other times he'll play it, apart from, rather than doing this, that I kind of raved about earlier, he'll kind of just start it by being in the C chord and doing stuff like this. I don't know if it's exactly like this, but. So I kind of just play around with that open C chord. So just on the treble side, it's like. Third fret of the top E string, open, first fret of the B string, open top E string. And then G string open. Then first fret of the B string to the third fret of the G string to get into that dominant that we were talking about earlier. But all of this is just a lot of fiddling around with the pinky finger on the C chord. And then he does a nice little simple thing on the 4 chord, like just G string to the B string with this, all within this chord that we were talking about, that I outlined earlier. And then he'll go third fret of the B string, first fret of the B string, second fret of the G string. We've seen this already. So, yeah, that's kind of the gist of everything, and a lot of probably unnecessary details by me, but hopefully that sheds a bit of light on this tune, because, you know, if everybody played this beautiful song, the world would be a much happier place. So that's, I'm just being a Fahey messenger today. Yeah, that's the gist of it. And actually, when he just, this whole progression, although it's probably like 1,000 other songs, it reminds me a bit of Leadbelly's Mother's Blues. So maybe check that out, because it has the same kind of nostalgic progression. The same progression, actually. But yeah. Have fun with the song. It's I just started playing it a couple of days ago and it just can't really stop. So that's why I'm doing it today. Let me know if you've got any questions or concerns. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching.